Good morning.
Welcome
Hello.
to Bright Horizons with
Deborah Cololella
Jim Chiappi,
and our special guest,
Angela Kaufman.
Happy terrific Thursday.
Yes, we're
everybody.
fooling you. It's not a Friday, it's a Thursday.
Ta-da,
This
you
is
know
different.
us. We're here, we're there, we're everywhere. But anyway, good morning. We're delighted to have Angela with us.
Yes, and I just wanted to mention a few birthdays because
Yes,
we always like
okay.
to start with birthdays. I have two cousins, married couple, Frances and Bernard. I mentioned them before because
Yes.
they watch the show. She just turned 91.
And God bless.
He
God
turned
bless.
98.
Wow.
And their wedding anniversary 2 weeks ago, 71 years together.
Yeah.
Amen.
So,
Congratulations.
happy birthday, happy anniversary.
Birthday.
What a beautiful, and their children and grandchildren
Nice.
are just adore them, and
Nice.
we just want to wish them the happiness that they deserve. And then a couple of friends of mine, Ed Sheehan had a birthday yesterday. Gene Kelly is coming up this Sunday. Anita McKernan with Illustrated
Nice,
Properties.
nice,
Well,
yes.
she used to be with Illustrated. On Monday, the 21st, Rick Rand, a friend of mine on Monday, and Nancy Goldman, our dear Nancy Goldman.
I was just
She used
thinking
to
of
work
her,
with me.
yes.
And her birthday is on the 22nd. So happy
Happy
birthday to all of
birthday.
Birthday.
You want to sing a little bit?
you. Do you know have any birthdays you want to mention off the top of your head?
I can't think of any. My father had his 88th birthday 2 weeks ago.
Well, happy birthday to your
Yes.
dad. Happy
What's
birthday.
his name?
Ray.
Ray.
Happy birthday, Ray.
Beautiful.
Angela's dad. Great. Happy birthday
to you.
Happy
birthday
birthday
to you.
Happy birthday, everybody.
Happy birthday to you.
And many more. All right.
Now, what precipitated us to invite Angela as a guest was a few weeks ago. I walked into the office here, and these two, Deb and Angela, were in an embrace. It was a very touching moment. So I inquired about it, and that's what this is all about today. Remember the Forgotten, because of a ministry that Angela is involved with that's evolved, and we want to talk about that. It's just so touching when you hear this story. It'll bring tears to your eyes, but we want to thank you, Angela, for all you do.
Thank you.
God
Don't get me
bless
started
you.
already.
Let's not go there.
We do
So-
need a box of tissues.
So when I walked
Unfortunately,
in, when I walked in and saw them, Angela was thanking Deb, and I guess it was a mutual.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So tell us a little bit about the program that you've started.
Well, I started as a volunteer at the Palm Beach County PBSO for the prison ministry, and I'm on the prison ministry board. So I go out to Belglade. I also go to Gun Club on a regular basis to provide Bible studies to the men and women out there. Usually it's women, but occasionally I get the opportunity to do men if the male volunteer doesn't show up. So we started doing this, and a lot of the girls that I was talking with were just expressed how lonely they were and how dark and desperate
Yes.
it is in the jail, because they don't have people that really reach out to them or visit them. Their Belglade is in the middle of nowhere.
Right. It's
So
west of us, about
it's like an hour, yeah, an hour drive from
inland
there.
from the coast here.
Yeah, it's a long dark drive at nighttime. So,
Yes, it
but
is.
and then I found out that they can receive emails, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not allowed to correspond with the inmates as a registered volunteer, but I can take their prayer requests and give them to other volunteers who maybe don't have time to visit the jail but can write a letter. So you can write 6,000 characters in an email. So when they give me their prayer request, then I relate the prayer request to a volunteer, and
Deb
Deborah
was a volunteer.
is a volunteer. She took on several of my girls when I first
I
started.
so
That's
enjoyed
beautiful.
doing
Yeah,
that.
and-
When Angela approached me, I said, absolutely.
You
I'm
know,
in.
just give them words of encouragement. Tell them you're praying for their prayer request.
Yes.
Quote Bible verses, or give them devotionals, or share an experience in your life.
it's very
It's not really about sharing details of your life, but just relating to them and
Right.
letting them know they're not alone. Because lots of times they do. They just, they just feel alone,
Definitely.
and it's
Imagine how
so
frightening
dark.
it is to be arrested and go through the whole process and
Yeah.
being in an environment that you're
Yeah.
not familiar with, and feeling that you've been forgotten.
Yeah.
Exactly. And especially I started doing this before COVID, and then we were shut down for like a
Wow.
year and a half, almost 2 years before they let us back in. And I thought, how desperate must they be?
Yes.
Because there's no contact,
Right.
there's
Yeah.
nothing.
So what was the reaction when you went in after COVID?
When I went in after COVID, the groups were very small because they limited how many we could have and how
Right.
long the program was.
Right.
Now it's an hour, and they've lifted the limits,
Oh,
but
that's
only
good.
recently have they lifted the limits. But when they first started coming in, you could just, they'd come in with their shoulders down and just, they'd sit, and and I would try to do Bible studies, and I tried to bring in DVDs of interesting pastors that could relay the message and relate it to today so that they could understand it, as opposed to the old King James version where a lot of people, if they weren't raised in the church, they don't understand
Right.
it. And so I wanted to make learning the Bible fun and interesting, and also give them an opportunity to laugh. If you got a good pastor that makes you laugh and chuckle, like, yep, that sounds like me, I can relate to that. I mean, it helps you to understand the Bible a lot better. And so we were really starting to get some good feedback, and they said, oh man, if you could bring some music in, that would be great, because we don't get to listen to music.
Wow.
So then it was like the process of trying to find people that could help me make DVDs, because nobody makes DVDs anymore.
Right.
And the ones that you buy, this is a volunteer program. I don't get paid for this,
Right.
so my budget's limited. So I did find a way to make DVDs and started downloading like the worship songs with the lyrics. And so
Which
now,
is great because they can see the lyrics.
yeah, so they
and
hear the music, they see
see
the
the
lyrics.
lyrics.
We're learning new songs every week, and now they have something they can sing in their head during the week. Hey, pick up one of your favorite songs, and when things get tough, start singing this song.
You must have a great voice.
So, well, not so much. I sing with the background music. But yeah. So each week, I just see them coming in feeling a little lighter, a little
I'm
taller.
sure they look forward to it.
Yeah,
Sure.
and,
Wonderful.
and now that we started the Pen Pal program, I called it the Prison Pen Pal program, but it's really a jail. So I need a good name for it,
Okay.
instead of
Come
just
up
the
with
Prison
it.
Pen Pal.
Right.
A Prison Pen Prayer Pal, whatever you want to call it, the PPP.
Alliteration.
But so
there.
I need some help with a name for this, And so now, because I asked the girls the other day, I said, so what happens when you get mail? Oh, it's so exciting because they call our name and we all jump up like, oh, I got mail, I got mail, So they're so excited to hear their name called that they get mail. And then when they see me, they're so excited because like, I got a letter from, Butterfly, because that's her nickname. And,
AKA
and I'm going to send her a letter,
Aw,
so
and they're
she's
wonderful,
received
too.
letters from them.
Yes.
She's received
Quite a bit.
pictures,
Yes.
butterfly pictures,
I've got
turtle pictures.
beautiful butterflies. Just recently today, Angela
Yeah.
handed me a beautiful
Oh,
turtle.
really?
with
Drew
the
a
seashell.
turtle.
So
And
it
I
gives
started
them
to get
something to
emotional
do.
because it really is, and it's just a delight
Yeah.
that you're doing this.
Well, you're
It's-
touching their lives. It's just
Absolutely, and
so
that's
beautiful.
what we're all about.
And
Brighter
I mean,
Horizons. So
one
it's-
girl's been in for like
Wonderful.
5.5 years waiting for trial.
Uh-huh.
And this is a jail, so it's supposed to be short term while they're waiting for trial, or a maximum of 1 to 2 year sentence.
Right.
Some of these girls haven't even had trial yet. So they've been in there 5.5
They're
years.
definitely forgotten. Yes.
Definitely
Yeah, yeah.
forgotten, and so this has given them something. And and I've been, I am on the prison ministry board, and we're trying to figure out ways. I'm trying to figure out ways to how to approach the prison, and get more programs into the jail,
Right, the administration.
into the jail, because they have AA, they have NA, and they have GED programs. Other than that, there's nothing
Right.
really provided for them. And so if you're in there for 2 years waiting a trial, and then your case is dismissed or you get time served, you're released on the street, and you've just spent 2 years doing nothing, gaining no skill, no education, nothing to advance yourself, and then you're just left go, and then you're like, okay, now what do I do?
Right.
No
you know?
direction, right?
No direction.
No direction.
When you go to prison, you can take college courses, you can do VOTech, type, industry, activities that you can learn skills. But
not
in the
in the
jail,
jail.
there's
Yeah.
hardly anything. And so this one girl who's been in there 5.5 years, it's like, okay, this is time wasted. She can't start any educational
Right.
stuff because it's a temporary housing program. But it's not that temporary
Right,
when you're
for
there
5
5 years, So it's like we got to set them up for success. A lot of them, maybe they didn't have parents, they were homeless, or they only had one parent, or the parent was, a druggie or an alcoholic, or so.
Yeah, they had strikes
Or
against
they've
them,
been,
unfortunately. in
a
their
lot
lives.
of them are in
Challenges.
for drug related issues, and
Right.
so if that's all they know, they're going to revert back to what they know and what they're comfortable with unless they have another skill.
Yes.
We need to set them up for success, because they can, function just like any one of us. It's just they started out on the wrong side. A lot of them did. Granted, there are some people in there that are in business and they have made it through business, to the top of their level,
Right.
but like insurance companies
Right.
and stuff, but they end up getting involved in drugs because, the money now encourages them to, take
Yes.
recreational drugs. But,
So you're allowed to know a lot about the inmates that you deal with.
I don't ask anything about them. It's up to them to tell me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But some of the girls, I just got to know their story, because I get so drawn to them.
Right.
And there's some that you just know they're just talking a game.
Right.
It's like, okay, yeah, I know she's lying, or
Yeah.
she's just looking for add a bonus point onto her,
Right. You
her
can-
list here so that she can get out
Exactly.
early or whatever. And then there's others who are so sincere that you just know, man, God is working in them. And
Yes.
a lot of these, girls that I'm meeting with, they say, first of all, going to jail, God saved their life. Otherwise, they probably would have been dead by now.
Really? Wow.
So this was God saving their life, just like Jonah and the whale. It was,
Right, right,
God
right.
saved his life, but they're in for more than 3 days, and it's like, okay, now let's see what we can do with this time to make you a better person for when you get out.
Right.
That's beautiful.
Well, that's very profound what you just said, because God did save their lives. Because had
Yes.
it not been
Yeah.
for the jail time, then
Yeah.
God knows where they would be.
Yeah,
So
especially
that's
the
really-
ones that, are in for drug related issues, they're convinced. I mean, I had one girl, she's in prison now, but this was 4 or 5 years ago, and she was mixing alcohol and drugs and woke up one day and had tattoos all over her face.
Oh, wow.
And so, I went to look at her history, and like the first time that she was arrested to the third time she was arrested, and how beautiful she was, and then how hard she started to look over the years. And now, she's got the tattoos, but she's like, I thought about getting them removed, but this is my testimony.
Right.
Maybe someone will learn from my
Right.
mistakes.
Right.
She's
Interesting.
still
Wow.
beautiful, but
It's beautiful. She wants to teach other people.
yeah, so,
Wow.
but, she's going to probably be in for another 15 to 18 years, but
Uh-huh.
she's young, so she still has a chance. But, I try to keep in touch with her through the prison email program, because you can do that,
Right.
But it's,
When did you first start being involved with the
Um,
jail prisons?
it was totally unexpected, because...
How did that happen?
Well, we have connect groups and ways in our church that we can volunteer to help the church do things. Like I used to do the coffee ministry. I'd make coffee every Sunday, so that when people came to the church, they could have a free cup of coffee, on their way in.
Yeah.
And then I heard that, one of the guys was trying to get us into the prison ministry. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sign me up. I'm in. And I'm like, why did I just say that? My father
'Cause your
was a
natural
prison
instinct.
chaplain.
Yeah.
Oh, was he?
My father was a prison chaplain
Yes,
growing up.
there you
Wow.
He started the immigrant ministry as well in
Where was
Franklin
that?
County, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
And this is how long ago it was, because I was probably 7 or 8 years old. My
Wow.
sister was, a few years older than me, and we used to go to the jail with my dad. My sister would play the piano, I would sing, and he would preach to the all male population. Now you don't get to do that today. No kids can go in and perform church services today at the jail.
What was your family name growing up?
Kaufman.
It is Kaufman.
Yeah,
okay.
it is Kaufman.
So the
yeah.
whole Kaufman family was there.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, and when I moved down here, God had prompted me. He said, you're going to Florida to help build churches. Didn't know what that meant.
Right.
I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to Florida. I guess you'll show me what to do next. So I guess that,
He did.
hand raise. So I guess I'm building churches inside the jail.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I am not a preacher. God, I can't do this. So that's why I take DVDs, because I
Right.
can't preach. I can, pray, and I can do Bible study one-on-ones, because, I'll do also one-on-one counseling
You probably
with the girls.
can do more than you really believe you
Yeah,
can.
So-
yeah.
but it was just like, I got more of a blessing.
And I see that too happening.
I got more of a blessing out of it, I thought, than
Sure.
what they did. Because
Yes.
when I left, I felt so good because I made someone smile.
Right.
Or I gave them hope.
Amen.
Or, like a couple of the girls said, when we come to Bible study, it's like we're not even in jail. It's like our
Wow.
get out of jail free card
That
for
is
1 hour.
wonderful. What a
Right.
You
feeling.
know,
What a great
and I'm like,
feeling.
wow, that makes me feel good that, they look forward to this, every week, and it gives them an opportunity to just get away from their surroundings
Right.
and pretend they're somewhere else for
Sure.
a minute.
Sure.
Beautiful.
So, but yeah, so I told my dad, you're not gonna believe this, but I'm involved in the prison
I'm
ministry.
sure he's very proud.
Help!
Papa
Sure, he's
is very proud.
Very proud
Yeah.
of you. Yes.
So the gentleman from our church that got us involved in the prison ministry, is no longer involved. So that kind of just fell on my lap, and I just picked up the reins and just
Went with it, yeah.
It was meant
tried to
be.
keep going,
Yeah.
keep it going, and and a lot of people don't have time to go to the jails. They don't want to drive an hour to the jail. So it's like, I get it. You can't do that, or maybe they have a criminal past, so they can't pass the criteria for the background check. But they can help be a pen pal and
Beautiful.
spread
Which
inspiration
is-
that way.
Hugs? Do you
What-
get hugs from the girls?
We're
Are you
not-
allowed to. You're not supposed
We're not supposed to have contact,
just gonna-
but
yeah.
you know what? Until they tell me otherwise, I've held hands to pray. The
Yes,
other night,
yes.
one of the inmates found out she has a heart condition and cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and I put my hands on her head and I prayed for her, and I put my hands on her shoulder, and I just asked God to bless her from head to toe and to heal her, and just tears coming to their eyes because they don't get touched. I mean, I know.
I'm gonna start
When
emotional.
COVID started, I'm a hug person. Like,
Right.
I love to
I-
hug people, and
I
I'm like,
know.
oh wait, I can't touch anybody now. So that was the hardest thing for me with COVID, is because I lived alone, and when I went to church, I wanted hugged.
I
When
know,
I
I
saw
know.
a friend, I wanted hugged, and they're like all standoffish, and I'm like, okay, who am I going to get my hugs from now?
It's horrible. Yeah.
So that's hence you have a dog, and it's like, even though they can't hug you, you can hug them. But
Right.
yeah, it's I think about that would be the hardest thing for me in jail, is not being able
Exactly.
to receive that hug.
That's why I asked you.
So-
Are you allowed to have contact? Because
The
it's-
deputies see me, and I'll just sit and I say, if you're comfortable, do you want to hold my hands, and we'll pray. And most of the time they will take my hand, and we'll pray, and and I'll pat the girls on the shoulder as they leave. I'm always careful to make sure it doesn't look like anything
Right.
Right, of course.
Yes. Inappropriate, but
Right.
people just want that touch
Right.
to know
Of
that,
course.
and to look in their eye and to call them by name, and
Right.
To feel like
so they all go
Just-
by their last name. The deputies always yell last names.
Oh, right.
I always call them by their first
Isn't
name.
Yes.
Know?
Well,
Well,
they feel wanted, they feel needed, they feel important, and
Yeah.
that is what it's all about.
Right.
Well, it
Right.
also shows a level of respect too for them.
The respect.
Which they don't.
I always
they
call
don't-
them ladies.
They know.
Good evening, ladies. How you doing? Any praise reports or prayer requests?
Yeah.
So
Remember that song Day by Day? Who was
Yes.
what was, Angela and I were talking a few months ago.
because
and,
you put that in one of the letters too,
I
day
did.
by day.
I know what it was. The day that you had approached me and you said, Deb, would you want to be a part of it? And you went on, she was explaining to me, and I said, count me in. I didn't have to hear another word.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I started singing Day by Day, the song from
Uh-huh.
Godspell, right?
Right. Yes.
And the girl, she got all excited. She wanted to see the show, the movie.
Right.
Growing up.
She's one from
Yes,
like
yes.
Ohio, and she was here on vacation, and ended up in an incident. But now she's a mentor to
Oh, is
other
she?
girls in
Beautiful.
prison. That letter, I mean, when she started receiving your letters, she
Aw.
walks in with a whole new,
I love it.
persona. Like, just everything is so much
Because
like
she
her.
knows someone cares about her.
Yeah, and she's far
Beautiful.
away from home. And and now she's passed a couple of her
I'm so happy to
classes
hear
that
that.
she's now a mentor to the other girls in her pod, and she looks forward to receiving your letters. She draws you pictures of butterflies,
yeah.
colors butterflies, and what first thing she wants to do when she gets out is she wants to see the movie because that song she sings.
Day by Day, we grew up with that. I remember singing God.
She doesn't know the
Girl,
tune
and- yeah.
because it was handwritten, but she plays those words in her
I
head.
wish I could sing it
Yeah.
to her, but just day by day.
I know. I wish I could take my phone. So
Day by day, oh dear Lord,
Day
three
by
things
day.
I pray.
I should probably put that on one of the
See thee
DVD.
more clearly,
Yep.
love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly. Day by
That's a
day.
great song. Yes.
Yeah.
That gives me goosebumps. I love it.
I should probably
so,
put that on one
as
of
a
the
young girl, that
DVDs.
always stayed in me. And I sing it every day. Frankly, I love it because it's within you.
Right.
So, with that being said, it's a beautiful.
Another reason I wanted you on the show is to ask others if you want to be pen pals with
Yes.
the inmates,
Yes,
you
we
want to
need
give your
help.
you want
yes.
to give your email address, or how do you want to?
It's Faith FAITH WPB for West Palm Beach at gmail.com.
Okay.
Faith
WPB.
WPB at gmail.com.
We'll put that in the comments.
Yeah.
For
Yes,
you later,
absolutely.
so that people
Absolutely.
can do that. That's just beautiful.
Yeah,
It's just
it
so
really
touching.
So yeah, so then like in order to protect her privacy, like
Right.
and others' privacy, they go by first name only, so they don't know where you live, they don't know your last name, they don't know where you work, because some people feel a little uncomfortable, they don't
Right.
want an
Right.
inmate to know all that information,
Right.
which is fine,
Right.
But so it comes through the portal from me, but with like her name on the bottom
Right.
of it.
Right.
So because since I can't actually
It's a-
communicate it, but I pay for the virtual postage stamps, and I've had other volunteers help me with that.
So let me just clarify. So the pen pals write a letter online,
Well, they just send it to me,
email.
and then I upload it to the county portal.
Okay.
And-
Can they write it or type it and attach it as an attachment to the
Yes.
email?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then what I do, preferably in a Word type document, so I can copy and paste.
Okay. Okay.
So, and then I send it to, the inmate that they're assigned to. And then
Right.
when I get a response, because we have a P.O. box also that they can mail their responses back to. So when I get a response, then, I'll hand deliver it, to you or email it to you if you're not from around here,
And then there's a similar program for men in the
Yes,
jail?
because I had 20 some men last 2 weeks ago when I
Wow.
went. So, excuse me.
Sure.
But so they're all in, like,
Terrific.
and they're so excited to receive letters. But I only get to see them once, maybe twice a month, because I only get 1
Yeah.
week. It's the 4th and 5th Monday of the month that I get to do gun club.
I
So,
see. And then the women, it's weekly?
mhm.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Well,
You've touched, well, I'm sure everybody who's listening to this will feel touched by that too, because whatsoever you do for the least of my brothers, that's what you do, and sister, you do for me.
Right, right.
Jesus said, and you're doing that, making them feel
Right.
like someone cares,
Yes,
which is
she
so
is.
important.
She most certainly is. Doing a great job. Angela and I have worked together.
Excuse me.
That's okay.
Take a break. You
That's okay. I know
I
the
got
feeling.
allergies.
She
That
did.
happened to me the other day, and you choke and you can't control it, and I couldn't get off the phone. Excuse me. It happens. But Angela and I have worked together for, oh gosh, it's over 5-6 years, I think already. That's how time flies. And she's just an
That's
asset.
what I wanted to mention. Angela is a real
A
estate
broker
agent. Real estate-
agent, right? And
Yes.
she's just a delight to work with, and we've become very close.
Yes.
And I adore her. She's a lovely lady, as you could see what she does. She's got a very big heart. A
Yes.
very, very big heart. And
Well, like we said, her father's so proud
Yes,
of her. because
yes.
Imagine
You know,
he did that
it's,
when they were children. So
it's been embedded in her
yes.
through all her life.
So she's
that
not, a lot of
it's-
people think about jail or prison, you're sort of fearful.
Exactly.
you know,
And that when you're doing it, it's just a given to be able to, you could see the sincerity, you could see the genuineness for
Yes,
sure.
yes.
And it's a wonderful thing. So, and she's, the letters that I have received, I've got to tell you, Jim, they're so touching. I cry with everyone. I do. And I have to get it together before I sit down and type up a letter. And I do it in Word, as
Right.
Angela said, and she'll copy and paste it. And I have a file folder, and I have so many, I have to show you the beautiful pictures and butterflies and just wonderful
And
responses.
how many women are you writing to?
Ooh, close to 10.
Oh, wow.
I have about close to 10.
Wow.
What would you say? Maybe not.
I would
no.
say maybe 7 or 8.
7. I was going to say close to 10. Yeah.
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 So, but it's building, and I just, in fact, I'm a little backed up now, so I plan on getting that today, or
Right.
tomorrow, and
And we mentioned that you're a real estate broker agent
yes.
with Illustrated Properties here
I
at the
remember
Singer
the
Island
first day
office.
Angela came to this office, and I liked her right away.
Well,
And
you
we've
can
been-
tell how the
I
warmth,
liked her right away.
the
and
warmth
we
that
just,
exudes from Angela. So anybody would
She's a
immediately-
blast to work with, and she's just.
Well, that's why the
as
Lord is
real-
working through you.
Yes, she's as
because-
real as real can be.
Yeah.
My next venture is looking for reentry housing.
for the people
Nice.
that
For the people that are being released and brought back into society. So they have a desperate need for this. I mean, people are left out and they're on a waiting list, but what do they do
Right, where do they
until
go?
they find a
Right,
place?
right,
Because
right.
you don't have a job, you know?
Right.
And depending on how long you've been in the system, you don't have credit,
Right.
you know? So you don't have money, you
Right.
don't have belongings.
Yeah, so where do you go?
Yeah. So, and the county does, you know, they do offer that, but they don't have the housing. Like, you know, they do it through the Lord's Place or Riviera Beach. But so I would have to go through them in order to provide housing, but they just don't have enough inventory.
Right.
So, you know, I'm looking for investors who, you know, maybe want to open up their homes because it's hard, like in a condo setting, because of the requirements for
Sure.
you know your
Approval of the
credit and
resident.
your background and
Right.
all that. So single family homes or
Single family,
duplexes
right.
or triplexes, you know, things where they don't have to meet that criteria,
Mm-hmm.
but people are willing to take, you know, a chance, to give them a chance,
Right.
you know.
So will the county pay these?
The county will pay. Yeah, they pay a certain amount per day for each person. You know, now one person might be there 3 months, one might only be there 3 weeks. You
Right,
know,
right.
so you don't know how long that person's going to be there. So it would be by the day.
Right.
But you know, if you're at full capacity, you know, 2 people per bedroom,
Right.
it can create a good cash flow
Right.
for an investor.
Right. So that's a good point for
Yes.
people to
Yeah,
know.
okay.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, and then if you offer programs and have like someone that checks in on a daily basis, they offer even more money per day per person.
Okay. So,
So-
it's duplex, triplex investor
Yeah.
would be a great
Or
source.
little houses, you know, like
Right.
a lot of little houses in the West Palm Beach area.
Right.
They might have
Mobile
even a
homes,
little,
perhaps?
yeah, and
Okay.
but they might even have like a little cottage in the back,
Right,
you know,
right.
some of those older
Right,
homes,
right.
you know. So
Detached.
like
That's-
that would be ideal, you know,
Yes,
little
that's so
just
important.
little 2-bedroom houses
Right.
because you can put 4 people in it.
Right.
And like I say, they pay by the person, so
Right.
you would be able to maximize your rental income.
Okay.
Wow, that's great to know.
Yeah,
You're a
so-
wealth of information. Things
So-
that none of us have even been exposed to before.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, do most of those people, like the woman that has 5 years and then nothing's been happening, she must have an attorney.
She
But-
does. They've changed her attorney now, and she's got a good attorney now, and
Okay.
they finally have her on the books for a hearing in December.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
good.
good.
So now it's starting to become real though. Like, oh my gosh, you know, does that mean, you know, something good's going to happen? I mean, I've been
Right.
waiting all this time, and now it's in 3 months.
Right.
You know, so she's excited, she's nervous, but she's scared, and
Right.
you know, so she's
All
got
the
all these
emotions.
emotions. And
Yeah.
I said, hey, you know, just put it in God's hands. You know, just keep singing songs in your head and
Keep that
praise
faith.
God no matter
Yes.
what. You know,
Yeah.
praise Him in the good times, praise Him in the bad
Always,
times.
always, yes.
Now, is your father retired from the ministry?
He is. He's
Yeah.
retired. Yeah, he started the prison ministry in Franklin County. Then he started the Fruit Belt Ministry, which is for immigrants who always came up, like, you know, for orchard, you know,
Right.
the apple picking
Right.
and things like that. And then he retired, but he still does some guest speaking now and then. And
Right.
but yeah, he started with his own little church whenever I was a little girl and moved into the prison ministry. So I never thought I'd be in the prison ministry. It's like, oh no,
Guess
this-
what?
The Lord is calling you.
Apparently so. He kind of just
And
he
you-
snuck me in there.
And you've answered the call, which is beautiful. Oh.
We never know what our calling is, do we? This is so true. You never know. And then you sit back and say, well, that's why that happened, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. It's all
And
good.
you know what's amazing here in Palm Beach County is we're a growing area, so there are a lot of
Yes.
small churches that just form,
right.
and then I've heard Family Church and some others
Yeah.
Right.
are consolidating the smaller churches.
Right.
And Family Church has become so, well, it's a very moving experience being at one of their services, so it attracts a lot of people with the music and the ministry and
Right.
the pastors. So it's growing, which is
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're in different locations
Mhm.
now, and it's just a great testament to the Lord,
Right.
that you're all doing this.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because well, like Faith Church has several, you know, campuses. So does Christ Fellowship
Right.
and Family Church.
Right.
But they're all more of a contemporary type service. You know, you have to change your program to meet the needs of the younger generation
Yes.
because
Right, right.
if you're, you know, if you stick with the old style of the ministry, they lose interest.
Sure.
You know, you have to offer that singing and the
I remember as a child, we're Catholic,
Yes.
so the Latin Mass was still when I was young.
right.
and sitting there,
I know what you're
not
going to say.
understanding, you can't really become
You
a
really
part of
cannot.
it.
Right.
This is so very
So
true.
thank God one of our popes
Yes.
decided to introduce English,
Yes.
to the service.
Because you're trying to be so proper, and you're like, okay.
And then when I was
think
a
get it, yeah.
teenager, they introduced folk music, which is
Wow,
similar
yeah.
contemporary.
Yeah.
And really it attracted all the young people to
Right.
the church. It was just so
Right.
beautiful to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And that's what you bring to the people, which is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that, like you said, contemporary music and thoughts, and the ministry is what you relate to people.
Right.
Is just so beautiful. So thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you,
Thank
thank
you
you for
so
doing
much.
that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
raised Methodist, but then when I got married, he was Catholic. So my
Oh, you're
kids were
exposed to
raised
Catholic.
My
Okay.
kids were raised Catholic, and
Oh.
I remember
Right.
coming home from church, and they'd be like, "Mom, we didn't understand a thing." And it's like, oh my gosh, I got to make this exciting for the kids. We got to figure this
I
out.
know,
So
right?
now we all go to the non-denominational
Right.
churches. Where
It's funny because, as Jim just said, being Roman Catholic and being raised
Right.
in the Catholic Church, New York City, Good Shepherd School. Oh my goodness gracious! My father always went, and my mom was Protestant,
right,
but she never inflicted that on us. She allowed us to do that because my father was very religious, and my brother was an altar boy. I was, always involved in the church. Peace be with you, and also with you. And it was
Up,
just
down, up,
up,
down.
down, up, down, kneel here, stand there.
But the beauty
and
was,
it's
yeah.
just you reflect back to your
Yeah.
growing up. And how the priest would come over, and I remember my Holy Communion like it was yesterday, and I felt like a little bride. And I
Right.
thought, why am I getting this thing in my mouth? Peace be with you, and here's the host. It was
Right.
it was really enthralling when you think about it. Growing up, you just did not catch it. But even Greg, he was Roman. He grew up the Roman Catholic faith. His mom, his dad. So it's quite different, to say the least. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, fortunately, my church here, St. Paul of the Cross, has about 20 ministries,
Uh-huh.
a lot of outreach, which
Yeah.
is beautiful
Right.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's so important to be part of a church that does that outreach.
Right.
And,
And so
you know,
many people
St.
are in
Paul the
need
Cross
of
is
it.
a
Yes,
beautiful church.
yes.
But like I said earlier, it's not only us blessing them;
Right.
it's them blessing
Yes.
us.
Oh, in
Yes.
so many
Because,
ways, in so many ways.
They're just like, oh, thank you so much for taking your time to come see us. We really appreciate you
Yes.
coming. And, when you see that you're making a difference in somebody else's life, it makes me feel lighter and
Yes,
Right.
of
happier.
course.
Right.
So every time I'm leaving my, the prison ministry, like if it's a Tuesday night or Monday night, whatever night it is, that's like when I call my parents and report in and tell them, okay, so this is what happened tonight. There's so many
Aw,
people
how
there.
nice is
This is what we
that?
talked about, and here's, so my dad, he's excited to hear about it because since he was in the prison ministry, so that's like when we get to talk. every
That's
week
so
is-
special to have your parents too. Listening
Yeah.
to Angela, having
Yeah.
your mom and dad to be able to pick up that phone and call them
Yeah.
because they're your life.
Right.
Without them, I know I miss my parents terribly. Same with Jim. And just I remember being a lector at my church and how my father had tears in his eyes because he was delighted knowing that I was
Right.
giving back.
Yeah, you're touching
And
lives.
when you touch someone's life, it means the world. It truly
Right.
does. And, we need to do more of it. We truly need to reach out and do as much as we can because the world is a little bit chaotic, would you say,
Yeah.
right now? On a
Definitely.
lighter note.
A
but,
few months ago, one of my clients, after I met with her, went to Robin, my assistant, as she was leaving, and she said, "When I'm with Jim, I feel that I'm with God."
Yes.
And I said
it's
that
so
was the
true.
biggest compliment I
Yeah.
ever
Yeah.
had. This is what I feel with Angela. That's the
Right.
only reason I'm mentioning that. You feel like God is working through
Right,
Angela, and you can
right.
see it in her eyes. It's just so
Absolutely.
beautiful what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yes.
that. But you might be the only Jesus some people see.
That's
That's
true.
right.
That's true.
And it's like, I am by no means perfect. Trust me, I have a whole
No,
list
none
of
of us
faults.
is.
None of us. No. We all
But
have our faults.
it-
Absolutely.
It's like, I don't do it for praise. I just do it because
From the heart.
it makes me feel good that I'm making a difference in
Right.
somebody else's life.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
And it is. You could be changing their lives.
Right.
And that's the beauty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, I have to say this about you, Jim, because it's true. You're very, very even-keeled. What you see with Jim is what you get. This man is such a gentleman. You really are. You're
Thank
truly
you.
loved. You're truly respected. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. There is nothing in the least that I mean, this man, it's true. It's like, is he for real? He is. He's really for real.
Deb's my marketing executive here.
From
Thank you.
day one.
I appreciate
it's
that.
so
The
true,
feeling's
though.
mutual.
So, and this is why we have our little groups together.
Yes, and as always, I wanted to read one of
Some-
Marie Pinchmit's, Out of My Mind and Into Your Heart. Now, she doesn't really talk about the topic of today, but this is
Right.
very touching because it's the thoughts on human potential. Because
I like that.
when you think about these people that are in jail or in prison, there's
Right.
potential there. It's just,
Right.
unfortunately, it's at a standstill because they're dealing with
It's
the issues.
stagnant, very
And
stagnant.
also, it's a horrible environment to be in.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah,
it's
yeah.
depressing for them.
Right.
So to see that beautiful smile walk in each week, it's just lifting them up, and being that the Lord is the basis of it,
Right.
is just so beautiful. But what I wanted to mention here is Marie mentions in this paragraph, let's see, she's talking about a psychologist named Abraham Maslow who lived until 1970. He wrote, a musician must make music, an artist must paint, a poet must write, if ultimately he is to be at peace with himself. What one can be, one must be. The same holds true for any profession or occupation. Now she's talking about Maslow. He saw human beings' needs arranged like a ladder. So we all have needs.
Mhm.
The most basic needs at the bottom are physical: air, water, food, etc.
Right.
So they're getting that in the prison: air, water, food.
The basic.
Then crime, safety, security, stability, comfort is next. But the next one: acceptance, belonging, and love.
I love it.
And that's what you bring to
Right.
these people, which is so beautiful, because they're being judged, and you don't judge them. You know,
Right,
you
right.
know they're God's beautiful
God's children.
your children,
Right.
and you just want them to realize that God just still loves them no matter what they've done.
Right.
And it's just so beautiful to do that.
It
So I
was
wanted to
lovely.
thank Marie, because
Thank you,
even
Marie.
though it's not the same topic that we're discussing, I always find inspiration.
always-
Right.
Without
from her.
fail. Without
Yes.
fail. Always
Yeah,
spot
it's just
on.
so beautiful.
My dad actually wrote a book while he was about the prison ministry.
Did he?
And it was Breaking Out of Your Prison. It's just a small little book,
Aw.
but it has
Is
little
it still
stories
published?
in, and it is published. Yes, I should have
Break-
brought it along. Didn't even think of
Aw.
it.
Breaking out of your prison.
Breaking Out of Your
Breaking Out-
Prison
okay,
by
I
Ray
remember that.
Kaufman.
Right.
And it's just little stories, easy to read for prisoners, but we're all in a prison.
Right.
Whether it's a brick
That's
and
so
mortar
true.
prison
Yeah.
or just, our own issues that we are imprisoned by. And it's like, is it good for you? Is it good for, society?
Yes.
Right.
So before you make a decision, think about, is it good for you? Is it good for your family? Is it
Stop,
good for society?
Think and pause
Beautiful,
before.
beautiful,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so.
So enlightening today. I came across this Apache blessing, the Native American tribe, the Apache, that I thought I wanted to share today. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries. May the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know that it's beauty all the days of your life.
Oh, that's
that's
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah, so I wanted to share that. It describes you to a
Yeah.
great extent,
Aw.
Angela, because you bring
Thank
beauty to others all the days of your life. So thank
I
you,
am
thank you,
delighted
thank you.
to have my Angela with us today and
Yeah.
every day. I love working
You
with
bring
you.
beauty to
Aw,
every day,
thank
too.
We love you.
Yeah.
I nicknamed
Well, you know-
her Butterfly because
Yeah,
she's
that's
always.
how I got the name. Butterfly. This little, my Angela. I'm gonna just every chance she gets a butterfly, and I love it. I love it. I love
Well,
it.
you're always bright and cheerful. You usually
Aw.
have really colorful outfits on, and it's like you're like a
Aw.
butterfly.
Yes. You
I
can't-
was asked the other day about that. How do you remain so happy? And I said, I was telling Jim, it's a mindset.
It
And
is.
it's not that, it's me, it's who I am. I choose to be happy. Now listen, I'm not perfect, no one's perfect. There's days I want to cry. There's days, but you know
Right.
what? Mindset, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just a mindset. And you just know that, as you were saying, your reflection to the other person. So watch what you say,
Yeah.
think before you speak, pause, take a moment, because once it's out, it's out.
Yeah.
And you don't want to give that negative vibration to yourself, to anyone else. It's
Right.
so unhealthy. Very
Yeah, you
unhealthy.
can't wait till you get through your circumstance to
Right.
praise. You have to
know,
praise
now.
through the
My
circumstance.
father used to say that.
Yeah.
I loved it. He would say, Deb, always pray when things are good and always pray when things are bad. Don't ever stop and keep your faith. He instilled that
Yeah.
in each and every one
That's
of
the
us.
only
and
thing
I'm
that gets
so
me through is
thank God.
the constant praising. because
Amen, right.
Especially, you guys know I went through a rough year.
Yes.
And,
Most
lost
certainly did.
some people very close to me. But
To
without
COVID,
praise
yeah.
and worship, I would have never made it through.
Right.
I would have been stuck in a rut, stuck
Right.
in depression, but by praising, it does. It's like, okay, it's bad, but it's going to get better. I'm going
Right.
to get through this,
Right.
Amen. Right.
It's like,
right.
when you're going through hell, don't stop. Just keep going, right? Just get through
keep
it.
going. Go,
And
go,
then the
go.
realization that your loved ones are still with you. Their
Right.
spirit
Yes.
is, we miss the physical.
Context,
Yeah.
sure.
But their spirits are with us, and I talk to Barbara all the time.
I know you do.
You want to talk to your parents and all those.
Oh,
who
there's
have
an
gone
idea that
before
goes
us.
by. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just.
Yeah, because they're with
I
us.
talk to myself. I talk to them. Talk. Remember that song? You talk too much. You worry me to death. You talk too much. You even worry my pet. Woohoo! Okay, that's on a lighter note. We have to think about that. Talking is all well and good. Deb, even a train stops.
Right.
Oh, what a difference a day makes, huh?
Yes, but we want to thank Angela for being
Angela, we
with us.
love you.
Thank
today.
you for having me. I appreciate it.
We've been trying to get.
And if
so
anybody
done.
wants to help volunteer,
Yes, please.
please
we
do.
could use volunteers.
We most certainly
The
can.
email address is faithpb. P is in Palm Beach. PB.
West Palm Beach.
Oh, West Palm Beach. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Faith West
Faith
Palm.
West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
At gmail.com. I couldn't even read my own handwriting. there.
Faith,
Faith
WPV.
WPV
Yeah.
Ah.
at gmail.com. So please think about being a pen pal for these lost souls that need
Just remember
to know that they're loved and
Yeah.
help Angela. And also donations, if
Yes.
people want to make donations. Because
Yeah.
you said there are DVDs and things you might want to purchase. that
Right,
you're
I
not
do
able
have.
to.
I have some people that are helping me with the DVDs right now. I've had people, just contribute to like the post office box, the stamps, because it's 80 cents for every stamp every time you send an email. So I think you get like 14 stamps for $20 or something like that.
Right.
So we're constantly replenishing that. It's not a nonprofit organization yet, but
Right.
it might lead to that at some point.
Right.
But it's I've just been funding it, and like I said, every now and then somebody will give me some money towards it.
Right.
One of the volunteers.
Out of the goodness
so,
of their heart. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
So
And
But-
what a difference you make in people's
Yeah.
lives, and
What
we
a
want to thank you for that.
difference. You know
Which
this
brings
song.
us to our song.
yes.
All right, people, here it is.
On the tambourine.
Oh, yeah. What a difference
a day
Angela
make-
makes.
Yes, Angela.
What a difference a day
Day
makes.
24 little hours brought the sun and the flowers.
When Angela walked in, what a difference a day makes. And the difference is you, and you, and you, and you.
and you.
We love being with you. You make our day, and we certainly hope we have in so many ways touched you. Reach out to Angela. Any comments, please feel free. Message us.
Yes, because you do make a difference in people's
Absolutely.
lives. And we want to encourage you to think about Angela's program. Once again, it's faithwpb@gmail.com. If you want to be a pen pal, if you want to send donations,
Yeah.
it's just, you'll change people's lives too. So thank you for joining us. And please share this video with others to touch other people's lives.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Until
Angela.
next time. See you soon, everyone.
Let me
Lots
just
of love.
get my cursor to here, to the right place. So that we
Aw.
can move this along. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone.
As